Well, actually, it's rather an evolutionary story. Back in the early 50s, to become part of Girl Guides, that's what was necessary, so that's what I did. About 10 years later, I had completed the program, and I started to assist as a leader within the Girl Guide unit the Girl Guide company that I was part of. And over the ensuing years, oh my goodness, I had discovered their values, their ethics was totally what I believed in and totally what I thought would like to be a part of. Before I knew it, I was wanting to share that with others, to let others know about it.
Well, I've known Mrs. Choney, isn't it funny, I still call her Mrs. Choney. I've known her for over 30 years. So as a young Ukrainian dancer, she was one of the first people I remember helping out our association, whether it was tying my apron or pinning a flower in my hair. And anytime we've performed within the city, she always seems to know somebody because she's either helped out that business or that organization. So it was only fitting, since we're celebrating 50 years of our city, that we recognize one of the people who have helped make our community great. And Mrs. Choney's one of them.
And what kept me going is the enthusiasm and the support of other volunteers. It's a different life. Volunteers, a long time ago, were different than now. Volunteers now go on an ebb and flow. They volunteer when their youngsters are volunteering and they carry on. So that's a little bit different. There have been many changes, but the end result is still rewarding.
More than 50 years, she's helped out with various organizations and many different organizations in town, whether it's Girl Guides or the Calvary Lutheran Church, the Missouri Ukrainian Dancers, that she's been a part of so many different organizations, and she's really helped out building capacity in those organizations and being a role model for the future volunteers of our community.
But really start with something you're passionate about. Consider your talents, what your expertise might be, what you're good at, what you love to do. This can be a humbling experience. I'm very grateful for the recognition. But at the same time, if I was to do it again, I would go through the whole thing all over again. It's really a wonderful thing to be part of everybody's life and enjoy every minute of it.
I would say her volunteer work has made a difference by just her help with those organizations. A lot of not-for-profit and charity organizations have been able to continue because she's been one to help out. And when you're building capacity in an organization and being a role model and a mentor for future leaders, it really helps those organizations continue to do what they do for our community and make sure that tomorrow happens.
So I guess that's really what happens. And I would tell the person, you can make a difference. I'll repeat it and try it, you'll like it.
Elsie, at 105, was still volunteering with us here at the 55 Plus Center 2 days a week. And when we gave away our 25 anniversary pins in 2016, she was one of those women who started volunteering with the center when it first opened. So again, when this award came up, it was easy to nominate Elsie for this award. Thankfully, she knew that she had been a recipient of this award back in November. Since then, Elsie has passed, and we are so grateful that we were able to acknowledge her service in this way before she passed.
So I think my mom started out in retail, and she loved people, and you have to like people or whatever it is that you're doing in order to volunteer. So she started, I can remember when I was about 10. Then the next thing I know, she joined the Moose, she joined the Eastern Star, and she was going to teas, and she was fundraising, and this just went on all the time she was still working in retail. And because she loved people so much, she would finish her job with retail and then she would have to go out and find something else to do. And so that's how she basically started with it. And then of course in 1991, what did she discover? 55 Plus.
She was 105 and coming here twice a week, and she never skipped a beat. She would volunteer at the information desk on Tuesdays, and everybody came in. She would say hello. Some people affectionately called her mom. She would volunteer on Fridays in the library, and she would suggest, she was an avid reader, so anyone would come in, she would be able to suggest books for them, tell them kind of where to find them. Prior to that, she organized the Grand Portage bus tours. So every Tuesdays once a month, they would go down to Grand Portage and she would organize that, and it was just inspiring. She's a firecracker. She made her mark just being herself, and that was a big thing for us here.
She was able to volunteer like a 50-year-old, a 60-year-old. She would read books, she would tell people what to read, and so I think that would be the emphasis. Don't ever allow your age or even shyness or being self-conscious around other people to ever stop you from getting the enjoyment out of it. We had a little saying, we would say, the pay is poor, but the rewards are many.
In 1950, I was working at the Hudson Bay Company in Winnipeg, going to be married in September, and none of you will remember, but they had the big flood, and they sent us to help register the people. And 6 of us contacted tuberculosis, and I was one. Fortunately, I was one of the 4 that lived. And people were so good to me that over the years, I decided I had to give back. And so I've been giving back ever since, and it's been a lot of fun.
Well, back in 2016, we awarded 4 women the first ever 25-year service pins with the 55 Plus Center, and Crystal was one of them. So when this award came up, Crystal was already over halfway there. So I knew that she had volunteered in Thunder Bay previous to the 55 Plus Center, and I thought that it was already, like I said, already halfway there. So why not give it a shot? And you're here.
It's good for me because I lost my husband at an early age, and this just gave me something to do, and I met nice people, and I've just always enjoyed volunteering.
Well, she is my go-to when we have the college and university classes come in, because she is a wealth of knowledge. She's volunteered on several different boards with us, as well as outside of the 55 Plus Center. And she, when I was looking for information on Crystal for the award, there was actually a woman who remembered Crystal by name from when she was with the CGIT program almost 50 years ago. So it's impacts like that, when someone knows her by name, that you know that she is definitely making a difference and people are recognizing that.
Not everybody's a volunteer, and I think they have to enjoy it, but I think they have to go find out what they want to do and volunteer in a place they enjoy. When I first started volunteering, there wasn't that many places. There was the hospital, and the Candy Stripers did that, and the churches, and community centers, but it wasn't a great deal. So as time's gone on, there's been more volunteer positions open, and it's been great. I think it's good for everybody.
We're so happy and so proud of volunteers like Crystal to have here at the 55 Plus Center. She is, I probably shouldn't say it, but in her 90s now and still volunteering with us. And short of the pandemic, she would still be here every morning for her coffee and toast and at our information desk, welcoming everyone that comes here. And I think it's just amazing to see people like her still wanting to give back to the community and still wanting to be involved. And we're just so happy that she has chosen to do that with us here at the 55 Plus.
I've spent the last years volunteering here, which I've enjoyed very much. But prior to that, I think everything I did I felt was worthwhile and I enjoyed.
Well, I think probably what started me off was my childhood and my family. My dad was a minister, so we were always, helping people and relating to people in various ways. I think I just grew up with this sense of that's what makes communities work. And I think that's probably what's kept me going all through the years too.
Well, when you look at Brenda's history, she was involved from the day one, when, so to speak, when she arrived. She was involved with her church. She's a practitioner with the United Church of Canada. So she did a lot of work in that area of schooling, etc., and with her children and volunteering there. And then she took on roles in the community that were very significant, particularly to Diversity Thunder Bay. She was one of the founding members of the organization, and really is keen about, you know, how do we work on anti-racism? How do we work on inclusion? How do we work to make our community better?
I was the first woman to chair the board at our church in the 1980s. It used to be that boards were mostly men and women mostly did their volunteer work in the kitchen or doing teas or fundraising, and that's all changed.
When we found out that there was going to be a special award for the 50th anniversary, we said, this is an individual who is deserving of the longevity of the award. And so to us, this is the right person and for the work that she's doing, and it's a special 50th anniversary. And you don't forget those individuals. You might forget the fact that she had won the Spirit Award, but you're not going to forget the fact that Brenda Reimer is going to receive a 50th anniversary award. And that's really the reason it was a special award.
The best advice is to find what works for you, what's the right fit for you. I think that you always get back more than you give, no matter how you're volunteering. Whether it's informal volunteering, like relating to your neighbors, getting to know the people on your street, or more formal volunteering through one of the many agencies. I think that it's just an important thing to do.